Two political parties emerged from the American Revolution: the Federalists and Democratic Republicans. Federalists, as their name implies, supported a strong federal government and a broad interpretation of the Constitution, while the Democratic Republicans promoted states' rights and a rigid constitutional interpretation. By the 1810s, however, the Federalists had largely disappeared, while the Democratic Republicans were ascendant, leading to a period from 1816 to 1824 known as the Era of Good Feelings. The system began to transform during the 1824 presidential election, in which two Democratic-Republican leaders, John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson, along with two other candidates, vied for the presidency. This was really the first American presidential election in which some states allowed citizens to vote for electors to select the president. Jackson won more votes than Adams, and more electoral votes, yet he didn't have the majority of the electoral votes required to win the Electoral College. Thus, the House of Representatives had to choose the president, and they chose Adams. This led the Democratic Republicans to divide between a faction led by Adams, called the National Republicans, and one led by Jackson, the Democratic Republicans. In a rematch from 1824, Adams and Jackson ran against each other in 1828. The 1828 election was quite bitter, with both campaigns engaging in vicious personal attacks. More importantly, Jackson's 1828 campaign was the first to appeal directly to voters using a political organization. The campaign held rallies to portray Jackson as a champion of the common man and promoted his service in the American Revolution and the War of 1812. Adams, however, refused to campaign, a move that made him seem elitist. When Jackson defeated Adams, he became the first president from west of the Appalachian Mountains, and his victory indicated a shift from the Eastern establishment. Vowing to represent the interests of working-class people instead of the moneyed elite, Andrew Jackson was the first populist president. He envisioned a country where farmers, artisans, and small merchants prospered in an open marketplace, an ideology his supporters called Jacksonian Democracy. At this time, though, voting rights were still quite limited. In most states, the right to vote was given only to landowners. That meant voters were primarily wealthy white men. That small pool of eligible voters shrank after many lost their property in the financial panic of 1819. Former landowners became fearful of losing their voice in the American political system and began pushing their home states to get rid of land restrictions and give all white men the right to vote. The right to vote for white non-landowners happened slowly, state by state, between 1820 and 1840. Just as Jackson promised, the voices of common men were finally being heard. Yet other voices were being silenced by the revision of state voting laws. Several states that had previously allowed women or free black people to vote rescinded those privileges. Overall, the majority of American citizens still could not vote. Jackson also expanded the practice of rotating government employees, which meant firing individuals from previous administrations and replacing them with loyal political supporters. In the 19th century, this practice became known as the spoils system, and it increased corruption and government inefficiencies. In 1844, the Democratic Republicans officially became the Democratic Party. Although the Democrats had supported universal suffrage for white males, they also expanded federal power when President Jackson asserted that states could not nullify federal legislation during the nullification crisis of 1832-1833. During these years, the National Republicans had advocated federally funded improvements and tariffs to boost the economy. In 1834, the National Republicans joined the Whig Party to oppose Jackson. Although the Whigs elected William Henry Harrison president in 1840, he died a month into his presidency, and his successor, John Tyler, vetoed Whig legislation. By the late 1840s, the Whigs had become divided on the issue of slavery, and most in the North joined the newly forming Republican Party.